Hey, fourth grade, it's Miss Flores here with your practice test 18A. I'm going to go through every single problem because I think that might be helpful for some of you. If you want to pause it and just fast forward as I'm talking just to grade it because you've already done it, that's okay too. But you can work through all the problems with me and go along with me, or you can just grade it on your own. That's totally fine. Be prepared to look for some other math tests coming home in your packets and different assessments on Google Classroom. Make sure you're checking in every single day to see what's there. And we're going to try and change things up a bit as the weeks keep on going. All right, so here we go. Number one, Mason has 4 days to read a 320-page book. If he wants to read the same number of pages each day, how many pages should Mason read each day? So they've already set it up for you as a division problem. You're going to divide 320 by what? So what are we going to divide that by? We're going to divide it by 4 because 4 is how many days he has, and he has 320 pages to read. All right, so 4 does not go into 3, so we're going to just put a 0 up here so that we know to skip on to the next place value, which makes it 32. So how many times does 4 go into 32? Well, you would need to count to 4s in order to get that, so go ahead and count to 4s. And hopefully you know that 8 times 4 is, in fact, 32. All right, so let's check it. 8, 16, 24, 32. So now we subtract. 32 minus 32 is 0. Bring down the 0. 4 goes into 0, 0 times. And we are done. So he would need to read 80 pages a day in order to get his book done. Hopefully you guys are reading for your reading log. You have a few weeks left though. All right, number 2. When Mason has read 2/3 of the book, what fraction of the book will he still have left? So it already shows you how you're going to solve this. You're going to take 1 and you're going to subtract 2/3 from 1. Now, you might not know how to do that just looking at it, or you might, but I'm going to show you how 1 gets turned into a fraction. We're going to turn that into 3/3. And then we're going to subtract 2/3. The thing with fractions, when you're adding and subtracting, you're only going to do the numerator. You're not going to touch the denominator. So only do the numerator. So since we're only subtracting the numerator, we're going to subtract 3 minus 2, and we get 1. And the denominator comes all the way over, so your fraction is 1/3. All right, number 3, Teresa put 47 muffins as evenly as possible in 9 bags. How many bags had 5 muffins and how many bags had 6 muffins? Okay, so as evenly as possible, that's key right there. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is you need to divide the muffins into the amount of bags that she has, which is 9. Okay, so 9 goes into 47 how many times? So you're going to have to count by 9s. So you go ahead and do that on your own. And I hope that you got 5 because we know that 9 times 5 is 45. Then you would subtract. So 7 minus 5 is 2, and 4 minus 4 is 0. So that means that we have 5 remainder 2. Now remember in the question it said as evenly as possible. So that means this 2 right here, that means 1 is going to go into one bag and the other one is going to go into another bag. So if we have 9 bags, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whoops, 8, 9, I ran out of space. Okay, and if we have 5 in each bag, except 2 of them are going to get 1 extra muffin. So that means 6 and 6 because we have 2 left over. So then your question says how many bags had 5 muffins? And it looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bags. And how many bags had 6 muffins? 2 bags. There we go. Zelda paid $1 for some gum and received 27 cents back in change. How much did the gum cost? So you are going to do addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. I'll let you know you're going to do subtraction, okay? Because that means you paid for something, you got something back. So it had to cost something. So let's figure out how much it costs. So you're going to write how much you paid at the top, which is $1. And then you're going to write the change underneath that, which is 27 cents. Now I'm going to make sure that I use my decimal because we're adding, subtracting within decimals. So it's important to make sure we fill in the zeros for those empty spaces. All right, and now we can subtract straight down. So we need to borrow from the 1. The 1 becomes a 0. We carry over the 1. 10 becomes 9 and carry over the 1. Now we have 10 minus 7, which is 3. And 9 minus 2 is 7. And 0 minus 0 is 0. So now we have our answer is going to be, we paid 73 cents. All right, number 5, it says round 5,301 to the nearest 1,000, okay? Since we're rounding it to the nearest 1,000, okay, our 1,000 number is our 5. So we're going to look at our 3, okay? Is our 3 below 5? Yes, it is. So that means that 5 is going to stay alive and stay the same. So this is going to be 5,000. All right, what about our 3,000? Looking at the 6. Is 6 below 5? No, so 3 is not going to stay alive. It's actually going to be bumped up, upgraded to the 4,000. All right, then it says to find the sum. So we know that sum means that we're going to add. All right, so we're just going to add straight down. 0 plus 0 plus 0. And then 5 plus 4, which is 9. So you get 9,000. All right, number 6, which two sides of this quadrilateral appear to be parallel? So you're already going to look for two sides, okay, two lines. And parallel, remember, parallel means that they run the same direction and they're never going to touch, okay? They're never going to touch. So if we look at line DC, okay, it's angled like this. And if we look at AB, it's also angled. So eventually, if they keep going, they will touch. So those are not parallel lines. But DA looks like it's running this way or this way. And CB looks like it's running this way too. So those lines, eventually, they are never going to touch. So your answer should look like this. DA, or you can do AD. And CB, or you can do BC, but make sure you have the line symbol up on top, the line label. All right, moving on to number 7, it says, which kind of quadrilateral does this figure ABCD appear to be? Now, a parallelogram has two sets of parallel lines. And just talking about it from problem 6, we know that these lines are not parallel, so it is not a parallelogram. Nope. A rhombus is a square. No. All right, so that means that we are left with a trapezoid. This is, in fact, a trapezoid. All right, number 8, a square with a perimeter of 64 millimeters has sides that are how many millimeters long? We know that perimeter, is the distance around. So that means we need to divide, because 64 is the total, 64 divide by 4, because there are 4 sides of on a square. Okay, so 64 divided by 4. 4 goes into 6 one time. 4 times 1 is 4, so you subtract. 6 minus 4 is 2, and you bring down the 4. Then you have 24. 4 goes into 24 how many times? 6 times. 6 times 4, 6, 12, 18, 24. And we subtract. We get 0. So our length of each side is going to be 16 millimeters. All right, if you need to pause that for this front side, go ahead and do that now. And then I'm going to turn it over to the back. All right, number 9, segment AB. Now, these are always a little tricky for some of us. So I'm going to go ahead and use some highlighters because I have a highlighter with me. You can use a highlighter too if you want. All right, so it says segment AB is 14 millimeters long, okay? So AB is right here, Okay, that's that part of the line. Then it says segment BC is 22 millimeters long. Okay, so BC is right here, 22 millimeters long. Then it says how long is CD? Oh, sorry, AD is 76 millimeters long. So that means this whole thing is 76 millimeters long. So part of it is 14 millimeters. The second part is 22 millimeters. And now it's asking you, what is the length of CD? Okay, so that means that we don't know this part because they haven't given us the number. So we have the total number, which is 76. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 76 because I know the first part, which is 14. So I'm going to subtract 14 from 76. 6 minus 4 is 2. 7 minus 1 is 6. Now I know the second part of the line, which is 22. So I'm going to subtract 22 from 62. 2 minus 2 is 0. And 6 minus 2 is 4. So line or segment CD is 40 millimeters. There you go. All right, it says shade the squares to show that 1 3/4 equals 7/4. Okay, so that means we're going to do some shading. Glad I picked this really pretty color. You can pick a different color if you want. And we're going to shade 3/4. Okay, 1 3/4. So 7/4 means that we're going to shade 7 pieces. So we have 1 piece, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And it looks like it's the same exact amount. All right, number 11, you're going to add straight down. Okay, so 8 plus 1 is 9. 7 plus 2 is 9. You're going to bring that decimal straight down. I'm not going to move on until you bring the decimal straight down. All right, 9 plus 2 is 11. The 1 comes down and another 1 gets carried over. 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 plus 4 is 10. So 1 gets pulled down, or sorry, 0 gets pulled down and 1 gets carried over. 2 plus 1 is 3, and this is in money. So we have $301.99. All right, number 12, you're going to subtract. 1 minus 0 is 1. 5 minus 2 is 3. 2 minus 3, whoops, can't do that, so we need to borrow from the 9. The 9 becomes an 8, and we carry over the 1. 12 minus 3 is 9. 8 minus 9, nope, can't do that, so we borrow from the 3. The 3 becomes a 2, and we carry over a 1. 18 minus 9 is 9, and 2 minus 2 is 0. This is in thousands, not in money, so we are just going to do 9,931. And that's your answer for 12. All right, number 13, you're going to multiply. So you see how the 0 is hung out to the side, so we are just going to drop that right down here, 0. And now we can just multiply. 2 times 1 is 2. 3 times 1 is 3, and 6 times 1 is 6. And we're dealing with money. There's the decimal is 2 place values over, so we need to carry the decimal 1, 2. So that gives us $63.20. All right, number 14, it says 64 times 17. So you're going to have to do some 2 by 2 multiplication, and it sets up the little boxes for you. So let's see if I can fit inside the box. All right, 7 times 4. If you're counting by 7s, you go 7, 14, 21, 28. The 8 gets brought down, and the 2 gets carried over. 7 times 6 is 42. 42 plus 2 is 44. So since there are no other digits up here, I'm just going to write 44 right here, okay, because there's nothing else to multiply that by. So 44 gets written down because you don't need to carry anything over. All right, now they've already given you an x, so that means we're going to jump over to the tens place value to multiply. So 4 times 1 is 4, and 6 times 1 is 6. And now you add straight down. Wow, guys, I fit it perfectly in those little boxes, so I know you can do that too. All right, 8 plus 0 is 8. If you need to rewrite it on the side, that's okay. And 4 plus 4 is 8. And 6 plus 4 is 10. So then we get 1,088. All right, we're going to move on to number 15. Number 15, $32.08 divide by 4. So we need to see if 4 goes into 3. 4 cannot go into 3, so we're going to just put a 0 because we're dealing with decimals, and sometimes with decimals it gets a little tricky. So we want to make sure we are doing everything we need to do to stay organized and make sure that all of our place values are on top of the correct place value. Okay, so now we see if 4 goes into 32. We know from earlier that 4 goes into 32 8 times. 8, 16, 24, 32. So you multiply and then you subtract. So we get 0. Then the 0 comes down and 4 goes into 0 times. Then you multiply. Yes, you might think, Ms. Flores, why do I have to do that? That's so easy. The reason why we have to do that is because if we don't add our 0 up here, then it's going to say, then it's going to be a wrong answer. We're not going to get the correct answer that we need. So we need to make sure we work through all the numbers, even if it is a 0. All right, so we bring down the 8, and we see how many times 4 goes into 8, and that is 2 times. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 minus 8 is 0. So now we are dealing with money, so we need 2 place values, 1, 2. So our answer is $8.02. All right, number 16, 8 to the second power. That simply means 8 times 8, okay? Because it's saying that we are going to multiply 8 by itself, okay? Because there's 2 8s. We're not talking about 8 times 2. That would be 8 times 2. This is saying that we're going to multiply 8 by itself. So 8 times 8 is 64. And if you see this right here, this means the square root of 64. So what times itself equals 64? And we just did it over here. We know that it's 8. So now you're going to subtract 64 minus 8. Now you can reset it up over here, or you can just use your fingers if you want, but you cannot subtract 4 minus 8, so we are going to borrow. 6 becomes 5 and carry over the 1. 14 minus 8 is 6, and 5 minus 0 is 5, so your answer is 56. All right, number 17, it says to fill empty places with 0. Let's do that first. Okay, there's an empty place right there. All right, 6.438. Adding 9.080. Okay, so we're just going to add straight down, even the decimal. All right, 8 plus 0 is 8. 8 plus 3 is 11. 4 plus 1 is 5. Bring the decimal down, and 6 plus 9 is 15. So your answer is 15.518. All right, 18, 600 times 70. So I'm going to rewrite this. Now you can hang out the zeros, or you could even rewrite it like this if you want. Okay, bring this 0 down. Then you multiply 7 times 0 is 0, 7 times 0 is 0, and 7 times 6 is 42. Or you can do 6 times 7, which is a simple problem of 42. Then you add 1, 2, 3 zeros. Either way, you get the same exact answer, 42,000. All right, 19, we're going to do the inverse operation, which means that we're going to do the opposite of addition. We're going to subtract in order to find n. So 4,443 minus 891. So 3 minus 1 is 2. 4 minus 9, we can't do that, so we need to borrow. 4 becomes 3, and we carry over the 1. 14 minus 9 is what? Do you guys know that one? Do we need to use our fingers? It's 5. It's going to be 5. And then 3 minus 8, we cannot do 3 minus 8, so we need to borrow. So 4 becomes 3, and we carry over the 1. 13 minus 8 is also 5. And then 3 minus 0 is 3. So we get 3,552. All right, 20. Now, I like to just add them straight down and then subtract from 61. If you want to do it that way, you can. If you want to do it 61 minus each number, you can do that as well. But I'm just going to show you how kind of simple it is to do it this way. So 3 plus 6 is 9. 9 plus 9 is 18. 18 plus 20. Now, this is where it kind of could get tricky. But we know that it's 8 and 3, so that makes it 38. So now you just have 38 plus 7. Okay, so 8 plus 7 is 15. Carry over the 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. So now we can subtract from 61. 61 minus 45. 6 becomes 5. Carry over the 1. 11 minus 5 is 6. And 5 minus 4 is 1. So n equals 16. All right, 4th grade, we made it through the practice test. Hopefully that was helpful. If you want to just pause it right here and take and correct your own work, you can do that right now. Other than that, I'm like, can you see everything? Yeah, you can. Okay. Other than that, I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you guys need anything else. We love you, and we'll see you next time. Bye.